What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shogi from Shook Earth Media, and today we are back again with yet another Witcher review. We're talking about Season 2, Episode 5. This episode is called Turn Your Back, and I enjoyed this episode. We really hit a stride in the previous episode, and it just keeps rolling. I'm really liking the progression of the story. Everything's moving at a quicker pace now, and I'm really loving this show. It's just so good, man. I'm so excited. So we start off with like kind of I guess a flashback, you could say, and we're introducing a new villain character, and he's kind of thrust out of the episode fairly quickly, so I'm assuming that he's going to return later. If it really was just for that one brief scene and then we never see him again, I'm not so sure. But I think he's gonna come back and be more of a long-term villain. At least I hope so. I was intrigued by this opening scene. He's like snapping his fingers. I'm like, what does this mean? And it has a nice payoff. I will say, like, directing wise, it's gonna be it's gonna depend on your personal preference. I personally think they overuse the canted angle. Canted angle means it's off center, so it's tilted, and we use it a lot in this episode. And to me, like, the canted angle was something that was a little edgy. It was a new technique, like 20 years ago at this point, and we've been overusing it ever since, especially nowadays. So that's just a personal pet peeve kind of thing. But if it's sparingly used, it's great. But this episode is just like all over the place, But that's okay. And then we snap back to here. We're in the same scene we were last episode, except now it's revealed that the guy who was just introduced is in this scene as well. Honestly, I'm not that big on things like this when it's a scene we've already seen and then we see it again. It's not a technique I particularly like. I almost would have preferred if we saw this guy introduced last episode. We saw him there and we're like, who is that? I wonder who that is. And then we get into that here. I don't know. It's kind of funny. The waitress lady's like talking about her deaf sibling or friend or something, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I was in his place right now." I laughed at that. That was good. But then we do yet another scene we've already seen again. But I saw it's not something, especially with the streaming stuff. You would think they make it more binge friendly because we've already seen both of these scenes previous episode. If you're binging this show, which Netflix kind of wants you to do, I'm not a binger personally, but a lot of people just plow through this whole series, right? If you're doing that, you would have already just seen these scenes. So it would have been kind of weird to just autoplay and then it's the scenes you've just seen. So I don't know, but I do like how they added a little extra. Like, he was mad about something and then he threw something at the statue, almost fell it over. Give it a reason why he was at the statue in the previous episode, so I enjoyed that. And Geralt and his interaction is cool. I like their part of the episode a lot. So and then Yennefer, it turns out she is looking for Jaskier. I said it last week that we were on the cliffhanger. Is she going to go look for him or not? And of course she does. Makes total sense to me. And Jaskier is taken by the guy we were introduced to at the beginning. And it turns out he's a wielder of fire magic. And we get some cool exposition in this, not this scene, but later scene where he's talking about why fire magic is banned. And it's banned because it typically consumes the people who practice it. So I like that particular element, and it makes a lot of sense. So I like bringing him in to explain that, and maybe that's get a little bit window into what's going on with Yennefer and stuff. So I like this dynamic here. And so this I like this interaction. Geralt has to convince him to help him by throwing his the monster's head from a couple episodes ago onto the ground. I like that bit. It's really funny. So that's cool. And then we get Yennefer. Honestly, she should know better than to do what she's doing here. She's asking somebody to look in the prisons to see if Jaskier is there. Now, she should know that her face is on all these wanted posters, and these are desperate. This is a prostitute, and somebody that she should know might sell her out, which is what happens later in the episode. But I admire that she's trying to save him. So save Yaskier. So I like that. And here we are on a beautiful location, and you guys know I like the location shooting. So we're doing more of that as the show goes on, and I love it. I'm so happy. And we get them confronted by some guards, and then they have a little scuffle, and they work together to fight them off. Cool scene, enjoy that. And then we get Ciri back to training again, and I was like, do we need this again? We're back here again, but they want to make full use of the set. We're like, we paid for this set, we're gonna use it, and I respect that. So, but this conversation, it is important to have. It sets up the whole episode. And then I love this interaction between Triss and Vesemir here. They're talking about using Ciri's elder blood to make more Witchers. That's something we found out about last episode, and Vesemir is all about it. And Triss makes a very good point that it should be her choice to do that. So that's what they agreed to, and I like that dynamic quite a bit. Here we have Yennefer trying to do magic to save some elves who are getting rounded up, and she fails. And then the prostitute lady says that Jaskier is not in the cells in the prison, and she says, "Oh, I when I lose a man, he's in the same place that I found him in," and that's funny, and it ties into this, so it all works. And then Yennefer kind of comes in, and just in the nick of time, and of course this guy's looking for Geralt and Ciri and all that, and Yennefer comes in, acts all drunk, and then she blows in his face some fire. And I love that part. Let's see if we can get it on camera. Yeah, love that bit. Whoosh! And then they have a really fun chase scene that I really enjoy that bit, where they're running from the people, and we'll get back to that, I guess. And this is Geralt and this guy whose name I should probably remember, but I don't. And they find the gorge that Ciri made last season with the monolith, and they're investigating that. And this is the part of the episode I feel like will have the biggest impact on the future, but at the same time, it's like, as a viewer, probably for most people, probably the least interesting part of the episode. It's the part I'm most interested in, but it's not action. It's just like them talking about stuff. So really, it's gonna depend on you. But I love the world building and stuff like that. So I like this. Vesemir's trying to convince her to do the Elderblood thing, and she's totally on board with it. Except she wants to be the first one it's tested on, and that's not what Vesemir wanted. He's not about it. And we get some cool, we get a little bit of a flashback when she decides that, this whole thing. And I enjoy this. I've kind of complained about these flashes and stuff. It's done a lot better in this episode. I think we got a different director doing it in a different style. And this style, much more immersive, much more, it's much more consistent stylistically. So I prefer this to the kind of music video type of editing we were getting before. So it does feel distinct from the previous episodes that had things like this. So I do enjoy that. And this whole dynamic between Vesemir and Ciri is really working for me. So I like that. Now we're in the gorge again. And we're figuring out that, the monoliths are communicating. They might be like portals to other spheres. And instead of like another conjunction, it's like there's some stuff going on. It's still a lot of it's a little confusing, but I think it's something we'll get more concrete answers on later, because there's still a lot of mystery going on. But some people might get a little bit confused with all the back and forth, I feel like. So maybe it could have been a little bit more clear, but we get some cool stuff a little bit later with a monster there and stuff that I like. We get a little Breaking Bad montage scene here. Just a brief one where they're making the blood and stuff, and it's cool, and I like it. And then we get, Jaskier and Yennefer on the run, and Yennefer like she kicks a guy, and then they start running again, and then he splits off. He actually does the brave thing for once, and he distracts them so she can get away. So I like that bit. And yeah, in the end, and Yennefer kicks a guy in the knees, and then he's like, "She's so scary." I like that bit. It was amusing, fun music. That part of the episode is really fun. So I like that we have some more lighthearted parts of the episode, you know. And then we get this like weird dream stuff. So there's some kind of thing Triss is saying, like this is genetic memories, unlocking things that she wasn't aware of. Now this part, I don't know. It's better than the kind of visions we got before, but I'm a little bit confused on the mechanics. So like it's genetic memories, but it's a dream, and it has people from her current day life as well as people from her past, and then like I don't know. I don't really get it personally. It doesn't. I don't know. And then we get to see her true parents, and then they end up in this like forest thing. See, I'm a little lost. I don't know what's happening. What parts are memories? What are magic? What's a dream? What's a prophecy? I don't. It's a little confusing to me. So I don't know. Maybe hit me up in the comments if you guys understand it a little better. That's cool. And then we get more discussions of the monoliths and stuff. But I do like how this stuff ties into the monolith stuff and how there's some connective tissue there. We like that. And then this ties in with the story Nivellen was telling in the first episode, which I didn't mention in the review, I don't think, but I was kind of like, why is this in here? Is this going to pay off later? And we see in this part that it does pay off. This is the reason why it was here. And it relates to her parentage, but the coincidence of that, like Nivellen telling her that exact story, and then this happening, I'm not so sure on. Oh, and there's one thing I forgot to get to. We're gonna go back to it in a second, but and then we get this vision. We get another prophecy. Honestly, when we did the smash cut to her with the white eyes and her choking Trish, I kind of laughed. I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. Just the way it kind of cut together was like humorous to me for some reason. So I don't know. Yeah, like it just smash cut. She's standing up. Oh, I thought I laughed. It's probably more of a me problem, but I did laugh at that bit. And then we get to see the wild hunt in the sky, and that's really cool. And I really like that part. But let's go back here. Okay, so Yennefer finds the prostitute lady that she hired before, and then now she just so happens to be in this place, and Yennefer goes in there, and there's guards in there waiting for her, and it works dramatically. Like, dramatically, it's like, oh, she's saved, oh, she's not. It works in that way. Logically speaking, it's very coincidental. I don't know if those guys chasing her were, like, they intended to lead her this way this whole time and was all part of a big plan. I find that a little bit not, because they can chase her, right? But they can't decide which direction she's going to go. So, and there wasn't like enough of them that they could cover all the exits to lead her exactly this way, right? So I don't think that works for me. I think it's a bit coincidental, and she just so happens to be perched at the door right when Yennefer is there at the exact right time. So it's a big coincidence. I don't really buy it. That it didn't really work for me. It's small criticism, but it works dramatically, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. But that's definitely something that was like, I was like, do I buy into that? Not really. But that's okay. And then we get, we get that prophecy part, and then the wild hunt, and I love the wild hunt. It looks really cool. And yeah, it's just cool. I mean, I already know what this is, but they didn't say wild hunt or anything, I don't think so. But I already know what it is because I played the third game, obviously. And then at that exact time, they hear Ciri's voice in the monolith, so she's like connected to these monoliths. She's connected with the other spheres and the creatures that are being brought in. I like that element. We got these like shards flying, and then they kind of coalesce into this monster, which I think we'll see in a second here. and then they snap back to reality. And Ciri, Triss is like fucking so scared. She's like, "You're gonna destroy us all." I love this reaction, and it makes Ciri instantly run away, and she wants to do the Witcher thing right now, right away. And I really like that bit, and yeah, it's great. And then we get, Geralt and this guy, and then we get this monster, and the monsters are fucking epic, and I love the monsters, and it's really cool. And Geralt's just not telling the historian guy about Ciri at all, and I love that. And then he's like, "Open a portal," but he doesn't say "I hate portals." But that, that's all good. It's funny. And then she's like, "Yeah, definitely. Right now, I need to become a Witcher." And then Geralt shows up right then. It's another coincidence, but it works for me because it's all set up. It all makes sense. That moment with the shards is tied in with her dream thing. So the timing, it works. So it's a coincidence, but it actually makes sense. So I really like that. And then this whole interaction here, I love it. Okay, I really like the psychology here that she wants to erase her emotions, and she thinks that becoming a Witcher is going to do that for her. And Geralt needs to tell her that that's not how it works. It's not going to be that simple. You can't change who you are. And I love it. I was getting emotional at this part, so I really like it. Yeah, it's great. And again, more canted angles, although they must have some kind of rig where they can rotate it that way. And they're doing a lot of shots like that. Like a couple episodes ago, they had like a completely 90-degree turn in the scene with Geralt and Vesemir in the cave. Which last episode we saw the bones after the wolves ate them. That was really cool. I didn't mention it in my last review, but we had that full 90-degree turn. It was really cool. So they must have some kind of camera rig that does that, and they are getting full use out of it. So I appreciate that. He's looking at the lineage of Sintra's royalty, and he's starting to figure out that it doesn't really make sense that one particular branch of the lineage completely dies out, and he's figuring it out. So he's gonna figure it out. And then we're with this guy on the boat, and they're arriving at Nilfgaard. And then this scene right here, if I was editing this, I would have cut this scene out. We don't need it. It doesn't provide any information or any plot or any character stuff. It's Fringilla and Francesca. I remember their names now. Are you guys proud of me? They are just talking about. She's like, I want you to be on the same page as me, and I'm telling you all this information. And then she's like, "Wow, I've never had a partner before." It's just I cringe at that, and it's just like, what? They're working together for mutual benefit. It's not like they're at besties. We're besties now. We're like, oh, let's hold hands, it's in kumbaya. We're the bestest of friends as ever. No, okay, that didn't work for me at all. I would have cut that out. And then we get Dara arriving, and he arrives on the same boat as the Nilfgaard guy. He pushes through, and he explains who he is. And then, right then, Frigilla and Francesca show up. And, yeah, that's, this, honestly, like, you didn't need that last scene. You could have just had this. You would have get the same information. It's all good. And then we get Jaskier outside the house where Yennefer is staying, and then Yennefer like ends up going back to the lady in the cabin, basically, and he's looking in the window, and he gets caught by the guards, and then like Yennefer, she's going in her mind temple or whatever to the cabin lady, and I'm not really clear on the logistics of like how that magic works, talking to the cabin lady. I would like a little bit more information about that. But this effect right here, not big on the like sparks flying up. It just feels like an overlay, because the camera's zooming in. I mean it's a really subtle thing, but the camera's zooming in, the camera is moving, but you can tell that these sparks are not present in the scene, because if the sparks would be moving with the camera. but the sparks are staying flat and the camera's moving forward. It's a subtle thing nobody else is gonna notice except for your boy, but that's why I'm here to make videos. Because, but yeah, that did bother me, because they're not present in 3D space, they're on flat space, and the camera's zooming in, but the sparks are just stay consistent. So, doesn't make sense, doesn't work, but I do like this scene at the end. And we get a little cliffhanger. I will say the ending does feel very abrupt, as far as like a cliffhanger ending goes. But we get a cool shot where the camera's like spinning around. A lot of times they use this rig where it's moving 360, and it's very distracting, dizzying. If you've ever seen Star Trek Discovery Season 2, hot tip, don't watch it. It's a terrible show. But they really like to use these 360 tracks, and they go to trick your mind into thinking more stuff is happening than there is. They just spin the camera around the thing, and it's just like so distracting. Here it works. It's slow, it's plotting, and I actually like the camera moves here, so I appreciate it. And then she turns into Ciri and explains that to get her power back, which I feel like this cabin lady's holding them hostage at this point, she needs to deliver Ciri somewhere. So I like this dynamic a lot of Ciri, of like Geralt and Yennefer. They're being tied together by fate, right? By the wish. And now Ciri's thrown in the mix there, and they're kind of be turning against each other. I don't know how this ties into the source material, if this is how it happens in the source material or not. But I love this dynamic, and I think it's a great conflict to set up. And I'm very curious to see what happens with Yennefer as the story goes. So that's my feelings on this episode, guys. I do enjoy this episode a lot. A lot of great stuff. Some little things I criticize here and there, but that's what we do. We are professional nitpickers on this channel, guys. If you're not a nitpicking nerdy guy or lady, then you're probably in the wrong place, okay? You're gonna be like, you're just nitpicking, it's the best show ever, blah, blah, blah. That could all be true, and you're 100% right, but nitpicking is what I do. That's my life, okay? That's how it is. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you think I missed something, or if you disagree, if you want to spur out of me, let me know. It's all engagement. It's all engagement. Hate comments, welcome. Whatever you feel like saying, it's cool. Hit me with that like button if you like this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.